Most of us, over 65%, are visual learners. That means if you can't make it visual, you can't make it real.
So many patients need to be able to visualize their dental problems on a screen because they can't read x-rays the way that we do. And they're not going to understand the urgency to treat unless someone takes a picture of it, zooms in, and then literally points to what is wrong in each photo and explains it to them in language that's easy to understand.
Honesty is empathy. Patients already know dentistry is expensive. Pretending it isn't just makes us sound disconnected. Patients can handle the truth. What they can't handle is surprise pain. When you overpromise comfort and then it hurts, that's the story they'll tell for the next 10 years. Honesty plus humor equals trust. And trust equals yes. It's not about being slick or persuasive. It's about being real.
Welcome back to Project Confidence, where we talk teeth, truth, and everything in between. I'm Dr. Diana Nguyen.
And I'm Dr. Amrita Patel. Today's episode is all about communication. Not just the words we say, but how we say them and how our patients actually hear us. This is about getting to yes, our top 10 secrets of patient communication.
Because let's be honest, getting patients to say yes to treatment can feel like trying to sell snow in the Arctic sometimes.
Exactly. And it's not because patients don't care. It's because we often forget that communication is a two-way street.
Okay, Amrita, let's dive right into number one, which is focusing on patient communication as a dialogue. Most patients and dentists love to talk to each other, and it's obvious that talking is a big part of this job. So why is this so hard for so many of us?
The truth is that we think we're educating, but really we're lecturing to our patients. Communication is not about talking at people. It's about creating understanding.
Yes, we're so used to presenting treatment plans like we're giving a PowerPoint. Here's what you need, here's why, here's how much. But patients aren't in a lecture hall. They're scared, confused, maybe even a little bit embarrassed.
Exactly. The magic phrase I use is, how does that sound to you? It invites the patient to join the conversation. Suddenly you're partners, not teacher and student.
And sometimes the answer surprises you. I get patients all the time who say, I'm fine with the surgery, but I'm terrified of the needle. They don't object to having a tooth pulled out of their head, but it's the fear of getting poked.
That's it. Listening reveals the real barrier. The patient who needs to think about it isn't rejecting your plan. They're processing their fear, their finances, or their lack of trust.
Right. And no amount of education can suppress or remove the emotions that are running through your patient. You have to meet them where they are and then help guide them through it.
Tip number 2. If there's one tool I'd save from a burning operatory, it's my intra-oral camera. It's cheap, powerful, and honest.
That's right. So many patients need to be able to visualize their dental problems on a screen because they can't read x-rays the way that we do. And they're not going to understand the urgency to treat unless someone takes a picture of it, zooms in, and then literally points to what is wrong in each photo and explains it to them in language that's easy to understand.
And it helps them own their problem. Instead of, my dentist said I need a crown, they say, I saw my tooth was cracked. That shift is huge.
Also, make sure to take photos at the start, the midway, and at the end because it's storytelling.
That's right. Patients see progress and they trust you more.
Patients very frequently forget what their teeth looked like before you started working on them, and they might have concerns or complaints along the way or at the end. So you've got to be able to show them how much the work that you did improved the health and aesthetics of their smile. Just that little visual reminder can go a really long way, getting them to flip from grouchy about how long the process is taking to grateful for how hard you're working to make them happy.
Also, it's a teaching tool for us. I'll review my own photos and notice things I missed. It's self-feedback. And from a risk management standpoint, photos are documentation gold. If there's ever confusion or a question later, you have evidence of exactly what you saw.
So the camera isn't just a gadget, it's your translator, your teacher, and your insurance policy.
Number 3, the world is visual. We have to recognize that people learn differently now. If you hand a patient a sheet of post-op instructions, it's probably ending up under the seat of their car, right next to that reusable grocery bag they've been meaning to wash.
Or in that black hole in their purse. You know exactly what I mean. They nod politely, they take the paper, and then it never sees the light of day ever again.
Exactly. We're living in a scroll and swipe culture. People process things through images and short clips now. They want to see, not read.
Totally. We all live on screens. Our patients, our students, and even our parents.
I've actually started recording short video clips for post-op care, and patients love them. They're simple, under a minute, and straight to the point. Like, here's how to clean around your implant, or this is what's normal to feel after a deep cleaning.
That's genius. And it probably saves your team a ton of time answering the same 5 questions over and over again.
Oh, totally. A 30-second clip explaining how to rinse after surgery is way more effective than a paragraph of text. It's also consistent. My instructions are the same every time, no matter who's on the team or what kind of day I'm having.
And then patients feel taken care of, even after they leave. It's like the dentist version of a follow up text after a first date.
That's exactly it. Hey, just check it in. Hope your extraction site is doing great. It builds trust, it keeps you at the top of their mind, and it shows them that you actually care.
And it's so accessible. People are on their phones constantly, so it's literally in their hand before they even leave the parking lot.
Right. So instead of them Googling what to do after tooth extraction and finding 600 horror stories on Reddit, they get your video from you, the dentist they already trust.
That's such a good point. You're controlling the narrative and reinforcing the relationship and not leaving it to the internet to confuse them.
Exactly. It's about accessibility and connection. You're extending the patient experience beyond the operatory, and that's where long term loyalty starts.
All right, so then what's number 4 on your list, Omri?
Number 4 is this: reality equals agreement. This one is a total game changer. If it's not real to your patient, they will never agree with you that they need it.
That's so true. We always think that logic will win the day. Like, look at this x ray, the decay is right there. But it doesn't mean something to them. It's not going to be real.
Exactly. You can show them the world's clearest radiograph, and all they see is a fuzzy cloud. To us, it's obvious. To them, it's hieroglyphics.
Yes, I've literally had patients squint at a bite wing and go, so that's my tooth?
Exactly. So instead of telling them, we have to show them. Most of us, over 65%, are visual learners. That means if you can't make it visual, you can't make it real.
Oh, totally. I draw on paper napkins in clinic all the time. Little teeth with arrows and then cracks, like whatever it takes for them to visualize it.
I love that. I use mirrors, intraoral photographs, radiographs, diagrams, anything. Sometimes I'll even take a picture mid-procedure and show them, see this fracture line? That's why your tooth hurts when you chew. Suddenly the light bulb goes on.
Right, because now they're part of that discovery process. You're not diagnosing at them, you're actually exploring it with them.
Exactly. And the more tangible the problem, the easier it is for the patient to say yes. You're giving them something they can own. When they see it with their own eyes, it shifts from my dentist said I need this to I saw my tooth cracking, I need to fix it.
That ownership is huge. It's the difference between compliance and commitment.
Yes, because when they own the problem, they also own the solution. You're no longer convincing, you're collaborating.
And collaboration is where that trust will live. When they agree because they understand, not because they feel pressured, they're more likely to follow through, right? They show up and they maintain the work that you've done.
Exactly. And it even changes the tone of the conversation. Instead of, do I have to do this? It becomes, where can we start and when?
And then you exhale a sigh of relief.
Yeah. That's when you know you've connected the dots. Reality equals agreement, not because you talk them into it, but you help them see it for themselves.
Right, because now it's not your treatment plan, but it's their health plan, and they're emotionally and intellectually invested in it.
Exactly. They're not doing it for you, they're doing it for them. That's the real win.
That brings us to number 5. Let's talk about money.
Dentists, and honestly, people in general, get so awkward when it comes to talking about cost. It's like everyone tenses up at the word money. But here's the thing: honesty is empathy. Patients already know dentistry is expensive. Pretending it isn't just makes us sound disconnected.
Oh, absolutely. It's like when someone tries to sugarcoat a bill. It doesn't make it less expensive, it just makes it less trustworthy.
Exactly. When I say, I know this is a big investment, patients visibly relax. You can see their shoulders drop. It tells them I understand what this means for their wallet, for their family budget, for their life. It humanizes the conversation.
And it's such a relief for them to hear that acknowledgement. Like, you're not pretending that this is a casual Target run. You get that it's a major decision.
Right. And when you meet people with honesty and empathy, they're more likely to trust your recommendation. I'll even say, if I were in your position, I'd want to know exactly what this costs and why. That line alone reframes the conversation from sales pitch to shared decision.
Yes, because we're not trying to sell them something that they don't need. We're trying to help them make the best decision for their health.
Exactly. And that ties right into discomfort and pain, too. You have to be honest about what people can expect.
Oh, totally. Saying, okay, this may be uncomfortable at first, but I'll make sure you're numb and comfortable throughout shows transparency and your commitment to being there with them every step along the way.
Patients can handle the truth. What they can't handle is surprise pain. When you overpromise comfort and then it hurts, that's the story they'll tell for the next 10 years.
Exactly. So if you're upfront about what's coming, they can brace themselves for the worst.
Totally. I had a patient once who told me, "You're the first dentist who admitted the shop might sting a little." And she thanked me afterwards for saying it out loud. It sounds small, but that moment built so much trust.
Yes, I once told a patient, I'm sorry, but you're going to be stuck with me for the next 2 visits. But if we get this right, you'll get to keep your tooth for years to come. He laughed and then he said yes to the crown.
That's perfect. A little humor goes a long way.
Exactly. It took the tension out of the room. I think patients just want to know that we see them, their fears, their finances, and their humanity.
That's it. Honesty plus humor equals trust. And trust equals yes. It's not about being slick or persuasive, it's about being real.
And real is the new luxury in healthcare because patients don't want just a dentist, they want someone who talks to them like a person.
Exactly. It's the best investment you can make in your relationships, not just your restorations.
Okay, Dr. Patel, hit us with number 6 on the list.
Number 6, if you have a new patient with a big treatment plan, slow down. Don't dump the whole thing on them in one visit.
Yes, information overload leads to paralysis. They can't say yes when they're feeling overwhelmed. It would be like giving someone the entire Cheesecake Factory menu and then asking them to decide what they want in 30 seconds.
There's just too much. When you dump every x-ray, chart note, and dollar figure on them all at once, you lose them. I've started scheduling a separate consult visit for bigger treatment plans. That's where I slow it down.
I love that. It's such a different energy when they're not sitting in the chair with their bib still on and they're half numb, trying to process words like root canal and insurance coverage.
Right? I'll say, let's make another appointment to sit down and go over everything when you're not in the chair. Then I bring visuals, intra-oral photos, diagrams, even short videos if needed, and I lay it out: costs, timelines, and realistic expectations.
That's huge because when you give patients the space to process, they'll stop feeling like they're being sold something and start realizing that they're being guided towards something that's good for them.
Yep, and that's when real conversations happen. They ask honest questions like, what happens if I wait? Or is there a less expensive option? Those are great questions because now you're in a partnership conversation and not a transaction.
That's fascinating.
And if they mention they need to talk to a spouse, parent, or anyone else who's part of their decision making, I always tell them to bring that person next time. You're not just treating a patient, you're treating a decision unit.
Yes, because otherwise you end up with that dreaded phone call. My wife said that you never told me about that part. And now you're both frustrated because you did explain it, just not to the person who's helping them to decide.
Exactly. I've even had patients FaceTime their spouse during the consult, and I actually encourage that. I'd rather spend 5 minutes looping everyone in than deal with 3 weeks of back and forth. It's a small gesture that says, I value your family's input, and that matters.
It totally changes the tone and it signals respect because you're not pushing them, you're partnering with them to make the best decision for their health, their budget, and their peace of mind.
Exactly. And that's what people remember. Even if they don't schedule that day, they'll come back because they know you treated them like a person and not a number. When they feel safe, seen, and supported, that yes comes naturally.
That's brilliant because the consult visit isn't a sales tactic, it's a trust building appointment. So you're giving them permission to think, and that's really powerful.
Number 7, let's talk about hygiene. We all complain about cancellations, but let's actually ask why they happen. Patients don't value what they don't understand.
Yeah, they think it's just a cleaning, I can reschedule, like it's the dentist equivalent of skipping a car wash.
Right? They don't realize that what they're skipping isn't cosmetic, it's preventative maintenance. I tell patients all the time, your cleaning is what keeps your investment alive. Once they realize that hygiene protects their crowns, implants, and fillings, the value finally clicks.
That's such a good line. It reframes hygiene as insurance, not an optional add on.
Exactly. I'll even pull up their chart and show them. Remember that crown we did 2 years ago? Hygiene is what's going to help give that crown a chance to last another 10. It connects the dots for them.
And sometimes it's not that they don't care, it's that no one's ever explained it like that. We assume that patients just automatically understand the link between hygiene and long term success, but a lot of them really don't.
Totally. I had a patient who said, I thought cleanings were just for stain and polish. So I showed her photos of the calculus under her gums, and you could see the light bulb go on. It wasn't judgmental, it was empowering.
And that's the sweet spot. Education without shame. When they see what we see, it becomes real. And they stop viewing hygiene as a favor to us and start seeing it as an investment in themselves.
Exactly. And if we want them to value it, we have to make it easy to keep up with. That's where membership programs come in, where patients pay monthly and feel like VIPs, keeps them accountable.
Yes, it flips hygiene from an expense to a subscription for health. And patients totally get that model. I mean, we're all paying for streaming services and gym memberships, right? So why not something that keeps your mouth healthy?
Exactly. It creates a little psychological nudge. They're already paying for it, so they show up. It's commitment with convenience.
And then on our end, it's stability. Fewer last minute cancellations, more predictable revenue, and less stress trying to fill holes in the schedule.
Totally. And honestly, when hygiene runs smoothly, the whole practice runs smoothly. The hygienists are happy, the front desk is happy, and you're not running room to room trying to squeeze in an emergency that could have been prevented.
Hygiene is the heartbeat of the practice. So keep it strong and everything else stays healthy, including the schedule.
Right. And fewer cancellations means fewer gaps, fewer awkward downtimes, and more continuity of care. Everyone wins: the patients, the team, and the bottom line.
Number 8 on the list, pay attention to your follow ups.
The biggest leak in most offices: follow up. Patients get lost between appointments, referrals, and unfinished treatment. It's like we send them off into the dental abyss and just hope they find their way back.
Totally. We assume someone else called or that the patient will reach out when they're ready.
But most of the time they don't. They're busy, they forget, life happens, and then 6 months later, they're calling because that tiny chip you mentioned is now a full blown fracture.
Right. Or they go to another office because someone else followed up first. It's not like they didn't like us, but we just disappeared from their radar.
That's why a structured follow up system changes everything. I have one team member who owns that process. Her entire job is to call or text every open treatment plan each month. No one slips through the cracks.
That's so smart. It's like having your own patient concierge. And it doesn't have to be complicated, but just consistent.
Exactly. Even if the message is as simple as, hey, just checking in to see if you're ready to schedule that filling we talked about, it keeps communication open. Patients appreciate the reminder.
And it's amazing how many people say, oh my gosh, thank you for reaching out. I've been meaning to call. It's not pushy, it's kind of thoughtful.
It's professional care, not pressure. It shows you care about them, not just the next appointment slot.
And it prevents emergencies. I mean, I can't tell you how many broken tooth calls my students get from people who delayed a crown because they never got around to scheduling.
Right, and those are always the same patients who say, I wish I had done it when you told me to. It's a lose-lose. Now they need more extensive treatment, and we're squeezing them into an already packed schedule.
Exactly. So it's the dental version of preventative maintenance. You can either follow up now or fix a bigger problem later.
And here's the thing. A strong recall and follow-up system isn't just about scheduling. It's about relationships. Patients feel seen and valued when you check in.
Yes, that's the emotional touch point. Even a quick text like, how's that crown feeling? Makes them go, oh, wow, my dentist actually remembered me.
That's what turns a one-time patient into a loyal one, and it keeps your schedule full without feeling like you're chasing people down.
Because consistency is everything. Whether it's one designated person or an automated system that still sounds human, follow up is what keeps the practice alive in between the procedures.
Totally. It's not glamorous work, but it's the glue that holds the practice together. And it's one of the biggest yes factors we overlook.
Talk to me about number 9 on your list. Tone matters more than words.
That's right. You can have the best clinical skills, the most perfect phrasing, but if your tone is off, if you sound rushed, judgmental, or distracted, patients pick up on it immediately. They might not know why they feel uncomfortable, but they do.
Oh, yeah. It's that subconscious energy. You can say the exact same sentence in 2 different tones and get completely opposite reactions.
Exactly. I once had a patient who hadn't been to the dentist in 10 years. Instead of saying, you really should have come sooner, I said, I'm glad you came in today. We can take care of everything together. Same message, but the second one invites trust instead of shame.
Oh, Omri, that's beautiful. You turned guilt into empowerment, and you basically told them, hey, you're here now. That's what matters.
Yes, and that small shift changed the whole appointment. Instead of being defensive or embarrassed, they relaxed. They were ready to listen, to learn, to say yes. Tone sets the emotional temperature of the room.
Completely. And tone doesn't just mean what you say, it's also how you pause and how fast you talk and how you react when something goes wrong.
Exactly. I remind my team that tone is more than sound, it's presence. Patients feel it when you're genuinely listening, not just waiting your turn to talk.
Yes. And like when someone says, while they're already halfway out the operatory, that isn't empathy, that's autopilot.
I always say, slow down your tone, even if you can't slow down your schedule. A calm, measured tone says you are important, even when you're juggling 1,000 things.
And it works both ways too. A reassuring tone can turn an anxious patient into your biggest fan, and you can literally talk someone out of being panicked when you speak to them.
So true. I had a nervous patient once who said, I don't care what you do, as long as you talk me through it. That stuck with me. It reminded me that tone isn't background noise. It's part of the treatment plan.
Okay, we made it to number 10, consistency and authenticity.
I saved the best for last because honestly, this is the glue that holds everything together. You can have the fanciest tech, the slickest scripts, the best marketing, But if you're not being you, patients feel it instantly.
Totally. People have such a good radar for that. They can tell when you're reciting something that you memorized from a course versus when you're speaking from experience.
Exactly. I tell my team all the time, patients buy the why and not the what. If your why feels rehearsed, they check out. They want to connect with a human being, not just a walking brochure.
That's right. You don't need to sound like a sales rep. You just need to be clear, kind, and confident. Authenticity doesn't mean that you wing it. It means that you show up as the same person every time, no matter who is in the chair.
Right. Whether it's your first patient of the day or your last one before lunch, they deserve the same version of you, not the exhausted, hangry one that's halfway out the door.
Hey, we've all been there. But it's true. Consistency builds that trust. If you're patient and calm with one person and then short and distracted with another, people will notice. They remember how you made them feel way more than they remember what you said.
Authentic communication builds lifelong patience. They'll follow you wherever you go, not just your office. I've had patients move out of state and still text me to ask for advice or referrals. That's the power of connection.
Yes, I've had that too. People who drive across bridges or through Bay Area traffic just to stay with their provider because they feel seen. And you can't fake that.
Right, because authenticity isn't about perfection, it's about presence. It's about being real enough to say, hey, I know this looks scary, but we'll get through it together. Or I totally get why you're hesitant. Let's talk it through.
That's empathy, but without the performance.
I once had a patient say, you just talk to me like a normal person, and that's the best compliment, right? Because dentistry is intimidating. The lights, the masks, the sounds. So when you speak with warmth and consistency, you become their safe space.
And it goes both ways. When we're authentic, we also enjoy our jobs more. It's exhausting pretending to be someone else all day. And so when you just show up as yourself, and maybe a slightly more polished version, it's sustainable.
Yeah, you don't burn out as fast. You stop chasing approval and start building relationships. And that's what keeps dentistry fulfilling, even on the hard days.
I love that. And consistency doesn't have to mean monotony. It means showing up with the same integrity and the same tone, the same care every single time.
Exactly. Patients know what to expect from you, and that predictability feels safe. You become their constant in a world that's pretty unpredictable.
And that's what leads to the ultimate yes. Not because you convinced them, but because they believe you.
You earned it. You earn their trust, you earn their loyalty and their confidence.
And that's what all this comes down to. Not just selling dentistry, but earning their belief.
Exactly. You can't script sincerity. You can practice your craft, polish your communication, but sincerity has to come from your core.
And if you can master that, the consistency and authenticity, then you never have to get to yes. People will already be there with you.
So to recap, communication isn't about selling dentistry. It's about connecting through honesty, visuals, empathy, and follow-up.
Getting to yes isn't about pressure. It's about partnership.
If you master these habits, your patients will feel heard, seen, and taken care of. And that's what keeps them saying yes year after year.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Write to us at projectconfidence@gmail.com. Visit us on Instagram @projectconfidence and tune in next time. Bye.
Bye.